The United States, under the orders of President Joe Biden, has executed a strike which killed Al-Qaeda leader Ayman Al-Zawahiri, who worked closely with Osama bin Laden in the 9/11 attacks. And naturally, right wingers are desperately trying to downplay and dismiss this event, which, were it under a Republican president, they would be demanding that the president be enshrined in some kind of gold-plated statue. That's what they would be doing if it were Trump who had announced this. And it's an incredible contrast that we've seen over the last 24, 36, 72 hours, where on the one hand, the Biden administration strikes a 9/11 terrorist, a major person on the global wanted list. And on the other hand, Donald Trump quite literally downplays taking Saudi money in this golf tournament that was played, an event being played at Bedminster, his golf course, and says, bizarrely, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11. Think about that. In the same weekend, in the same 3-4 day period, former President Donald Trump kowtowing to the conspiracy theorists with nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11. Whereas on the other hand, Joe Biden authorizes a strike that kills one of the major actors in those 9/11 attacks. Now, before we get into the right wingers falling all over themselves to criticize Joe Biden, I think it's important to mention that any serious progressive who respects the rule of law and due process and all of the stuff that the right claims to respect but actually doesn't, reasonable progressives can be generally concerned about what is exactly the legal infrastructure for when the U.S. strikes these individuals in other countries. They aren't getting due process. That's absolutely true. And while I, on a personal level, have no doubt whatsoever, based on everything that we've seen and read about Ayman Al-Zawahiri, that this guy was guilty, that is my personal opinion. And he didn't get due process. And of course, you can argue, well, this is technically part of a wartime situation that dates all the way back. Well, but that's complicated too. So I'm not downplaying that at all. That's not why the right wingers are angry. That's not at all why the right wingers are angry. So let's first start with the announcement from Joe Biden.
Make it clear again tonight that no matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out. After relentlessly seeking Zawahiri for years under Presidents Bush, Obama, and Trump, our intelligence community located Zawahiri earlier this year. He had moved to downtown Kabul to reunite with members of his immediate family. After carefully considering the clear and convincing evidence of his location, I authorized a precision strike that would remove him from the battlefield once and for all. This mission was carefully planned, rigorously minimized the risk of harm to other civilians. And 1 week ago, after being advised that the conditions were optimal, I gave the final approval to go get him. And the mission was a success. None of his family members were hurt, and there were no civilian casualties.
Okay, so that's the announcement from Joe Biden. You would think that the right would rally around this. What a patriotic big boy that Joe Biden did, but no. Here is Tucker Carlson saying, Biden's bragging about killing this Al-Qaeda leader. I don't feel any safer.
Gave a speech boasting that he's killed an Al-Qaeda figure in Afghanistan. Great. Feel safer? Of course you don't. Nobody does. And the reason nobody feels safer
is that Tucker Carlson is friends with Donald Trump.
Is Biden's response to the disaster in Afghanistan.
Oh.
Rather than pause and learn from it, maybe fire the people responsible for it, not simply the self-destructive withdrawal from Afghanistan, but also the pointless 20-year war there, rather than do any of that like a normal person would do, Biden immediately set off in another direction, provoking yet another conflict, this one in Eastern Europe.
So look at this. Biden authorizes a strike that kills a 9/11 leader. And Tucker says, I don't feel any safer because of Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan, which is identical to what Trump's withdrawal from Afghanistan would have been. And he blames Biden for provoking Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Reeks of desperation. Senate Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy posting to Twitter, we owe a debt of gratitude to the brave Americans who took out the terrorist Al-Zawahiri. The Biden administration must provide Congress with a briefing as soon as possible to discuss the resurgence of Al-Qaeda in the region following his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. So Biden not getting any of the credit from McCarthy. Trump, of course, would have had McCarthy praying at an altar to him. And then Newsmax taking the dementia approach and the COVID approach, saying, well, okay, instead of talking about the substance of this terrorist being killed, Newsmax cuts in and says Biden seems confused and sick.
Now, justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more. People around the world no longer need to fear the vicious and determined killer. The United States continues to demonstrate our resolve and our capacity to defend the American people against those who seek to do us harm.
All right, so we told you we'd jump in and show you some of this. The president at the White House, big speech. He's got COVID again. He got the recurring case, the rebound case, I guess. But they brought him out and they gave him the teleprompter. Doesn't seem too familiar with the speech. Seems a bit off base, but maybe he's still sick. Let's go now to Chief White House Correspondent.
Now, that's actually kind of funny how they dismiss the entire substance and instead go with like, oh, Biden has COVID again. If this were Donald Trump, Newsmax would do 24 hours of coverage with Trump, looking victorious and as alpha as Trump can possibly look. So immediately downplaying all of it. Reasonable concerns for progressives about all of these types of killings, but the right just desperate not to give Biden any kind of win, even by their standards, is the important point that I would make. One of our longtime sponsors, Splendid Spoon, is giving you $50 off. As many of you know, I am not vegetarian, but I think eating plant-based is a great thing, and I do more of it consciously. Splendid Spoon takes the work out of eating plant-based by delivering ready-to-eat plant-based meals, smoothies, and juices right to your door. Splendid Spoon fits into my day easily. The meals are in my fridge, put them on the stovetop or in the microwave, and I've got a great, fresh, plant-based meal in a few minutes. It saves me time, which is really useful right now. Whether you're vegan or you just want to add an easy, delicious way to have more plants in your diet, Splendid Spoon is a great way to go. There are great dishes like creamy mushroom and spinach noodles, coconut curry, cauliflower tikka soup. That's one of my favorites. Tons of choices. The menu rotates constantly. I've tried a lot of different meal subscription services. Splendid Spoon is great on both taste and quality. They pack so much flavor into the dishes. They taste freshly cooked. Splendid Spoon's smoothies are awesome when I'm on the go. And you'll get $50 off your first week when you subscribe at splendidspoon.com/Pacman. The link is down below.